All right now on the Fox 61 Morning News at 6 o'clock, we are talking about flooding. Storm cleanup efforts continuing across the state. Brooke Griffin will give us a closer look at the damage and progress being made to clean up.
Also ahead, a closer look at funding meant to protect communities from disasters like these in the future.
And also ahead for you this morning, summer youth funding, getting kids to work across our capital region. Those details and more right now on the news at 6.
All local, all morning. This is Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
First at 6, it is going to get warm out there. It's warm in here, to be honest. Somebody crank up the air. So grab your hat and go ahead and spend some time outside. Good morning. Thanks for starting off your day with us. I'm Erica Arias.
And I'm Keith McGilver. You are too funny. We are in solidarity with the folks at home as the sun is beaming here over the capital city. Let's get you caught up on your forecast, meteorologist Matt Scott.
There's
standing
an issue
by.
with the air conditioner here.
In the studio, by the end of the show, we're all going to be medium well. It should be good. Good morning to you. Nice to have you along on this Tuesday. The temperatures are up. Humidity, believe it or not, slightly down today. It actually felt pretty good this morning in the middle of the night when we wake up. Rain-free for now, but we have the summer feels in the 7-day. I'll tell you when that's going to return coming up. Let's talk about flood warnings. They are still all over the place in terms of localized rivers. The Connecticut River, the Housatonic, way up in the northwestern corner where the rain was absolutely amazing in the last 24, 48 hours. Temperatures now in the upper 60s in Hartford, but look at Waterbury, Meriden at our lucky 61, Putnam at 63. That's not horrible, especially when you see the dew points are in the upper 50s. So enjoy this, because it's not going to last. It's going to creep back up today, and by the end of the week, we're going to be talking about tropical feels again. Temperatures getting into the upper 80s, near 90 degrees, with a very manageable dew point. Every little bit helps when the temperature gets that warm, but remember, it still needs a lot of breaks outside, a lot of sunscreen, a lot of water, and a lot of peace and quiet. It would be nice. We'll talk about the forecast for the rest of the week coming up. Lauren Zenzi, good morning to you at 6:02.
Good morning to you, Matt Scott. Good morning, everyone. Hopefully everyone is having a good day so far. We do have a lot of road closures that have already been in place for a couple of days now because of all of the flooding over in the Northwest Hills, but I will go through them so everyone is aware. This is a newer one because of the Housatonic River flooding. Route 7 is closed in New Milford between Fort Hill Road and Sunny Valley Road because of, like I said, some flooding in this area, so avoid that at all costs. These closures have been in place since yesterday. Route 126 over in the Canaan area is closed in 2 separate directions around Route 63 and also right near Sand Road and Dublin Road. That is due to some flooding. And then over in Norfolk, we have Route 272 completely shut down because it washed away in several areas. And then moving over to Farmington, we have a closure still in place. Route 167 is closed between Route 4 Farmington Ave and Cedar Lane. And one last issue that we have over in the Rocky Hill area is I-91 northbound. The exit ramp to Route 9 northbound is currently closed. We'll check back in on the roads coming up at 6:30. Keith and Erica, back over to you.
All right. Thank you, Lauren, for that. What a mess, Erica, as we take a look at some of this damage here for folks in the Litchfield area cleaning up after this rain that we have really just seen in the area over the course of the last couple of days.
Yeah, it's really bad. Fox 61's Brooke Griffin is back there in Norfolk live this morning with the latest on how that community is doing this morning. Brooke.
Well, it's a much different scene here this morning than it was 24 hours ago. That rain has now moved out, which means that the survey crews all day yesterday were able to get out and take a look at the extent of that damage that was left behind. But now they're saying that they've seen the extent of it, and it's much, much worse than they originally thought. There's millions of dollars worth of damage here in the Norfolk area, really to those roads and bridges. And they say it's going to take months to get those repaired. Now, as those storms started on Sunday afternoon and then seemingly didn't move for about 24 hours, water rushed through the town of Norfolk, buckling roads, collapsing bridges, and flooding yards and homes. Now, when the rain stopped, the state DOT, town crews, and the local fire department were able to survey the area and knock on the doors of the homes isolated after their roads were washed out. Leaders say that time of survey revealed the damage was more more extensive than they thought, with at least 6 roads and bridges washed out. They have a long way to go before returning to normalcy. One of the residents with a washed out road in front of her home says that she has some adjusting to do.
I've lived here 35 plus years. I've never seen it this bad. What scared me was when I saw the water running across 272 down Smith Road, and then I saw the road start to buckle and the culverts being exposed. I says, okay, this is not good.
And I got the chance to speak with quite a few people yesterday, both residents and town leaders and fire crews here, all of them comparing this weekend's flood to the one they had back in 2006. But the interesting part is they said even that was nowhere near as bad as what they're dealing with this week. They say this is far worse. Live in Norfolk, Brooke Griffin, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
All right, Brooke, more with you throughout the morning. Thanks so much.
All right, we're heading to Kent now, where residents also dealing with heavy rains and flooding there. Those living on Preston Mountain waking up to the sound of rushing water. One resident says a small stream by his home turned into a raging river there.
20 minutes, the water was about a foot below it. 20 minutes later, it was over the bridge, and I told my wife, grab the cats, we got to get out of here, and we barely got out.
They walked down the hill as they watched the water rush into their home. Other residents say they put out sandbags the night before, but the water was still too much to keep at bay. Now cleanup efforts are underway.
And as towns and cities work on long-term flooding solutions, Governor Vermont recently announcing nearly $9 million in state funding to support several climate resilience projects across our region.
And those plans are aimed at anticipating, preparing, and responding to any dangerous events related to climate. Fox 61's Angelo Bovaro is joining us live right outside the Capitol building in Hartford with more.
Erica, Keith, good morning. Yeah, that funding, $8.8 million, that will support 21 different plans and projects across 17 towns and cities here in Connecticut. And some of those projects are aimed at tackling these issues of flooding that have been so prominent over the past 2 weeks in some of these towns and cities. Now, money for this, that is coming from the Department of Energy and Environmental Protection's Climate Resilience Plan. And in this first round of funding, the governor's office says more than 90% of the funds will go to vulnerable communities that will feel the effects of climate change first and worst. Now, in some of these cases, towns and cities are receiving grants to develop flood resilience plans, including Hartford, Manchester, and Bristol. And in other cases, the grant money will advance already identified resilience projects to various stages of development, like coming up with conceptual designs and also conducting engineering studies. And the goal of this funding is really to get these projects off the ground, get them going. The end goal is for these towns and cities to successfully apply for federal funding for the actual construction and implementation of these plans and these projects. For a full list of the projects and which towns and cities are getting this money, you can visit our website, that is fox61.com. Reporting live in the capital city this morning, I'm Angelo Bavaro, Fox 61, Connecticut's news station.
All right, Angelo, thank you for that detail there. More with you at 7 o'clock. It is just about 6:09. Our state wasn't the only one dealing with flooding. Several communities in Vermont devastated by rising water yesterday. Some people trapped by flood water were rescued. Governor Phil Scott up there saying this type of flooding has not been seen since Hurricane Irene. I reported through all of that. Roads entirely wiped out, bridges wiped out. Many communities still recovering from that disaster. Overnight, President Biden signing an emergency declaration for Vermont, giving them federal assistance for damage and rescue efforts. And whether it's flash flooding or hot temps, stay up to date by downloading the Fox 61 News app. That's where you can find live radar, hour-by-hour forecast. It's also a great resource for breaking news, weather, and traffic right at your fingertips. Happening today, $300,000 in funding expected to be announced to help find summer jobs for young people across Hartford. The city says the Summer Youth Employment and Learning Program helps promote career readiness and allows young people in the capital region to develop new skills. Around 800 young men and women have participated in the program over the last 3 years. Good luck, everyone.
This morning, Governor Ned Lamont is going to administer the oath of office to a new group of Superior Court judges and family support magistrates. Now, earlier this year, the General Assembly confirmed 20 Superior Court judges and 2 family support magistrates. The swearing-in ceremony is going to be happening at 10 a.m. at the Legislative Office building. And in Meriden today, a man who was found guilty of killing another man is expected to be sentenced. Davis Villanueva was arrested in Puerto Rico after a few days after investigators say he shot and killed Casey Schoonover back in October of 2020. Now, according to police, the shooting happened near the area of Foster Court. Schoonover was rushed to the hospital but died.